Mic check, mic check. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good morning. Check, 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 check. We good on audio? Can you hear me okay? You can see my screen okay? All right, good morning, everybody. We are going to do a review of the watch list today. It's a larger list that I have that we've put together. I have already gone through everything and set out our levels, so I'm just going to explain it to you and what we're looking for. This is SPY. We are on the 5-minute time frame. We're going to be on the 5-minute time frame for every chart that we look at. The past 3 trading days, here, here, and here, there is resistance here, here, and pretty close to there. And then this morning, right, with the gap up. So it's a gap up this morning hitting that same line of resistance. So when we zoom out, you can see that this is our area. And the highest point of this resistance area is the pre-market high, which is 687. Therefore, I'm placing my long level on SPY today at 687. Now, when you zoom out and you're looking for the short level, you might think the support is somewhere down here, and you would be right. It is. Support is somewhere down here, but that doesn't mean that we have to set our level way down here. With it being a gap up this morning, one thing that I'm looking for is a break of that previous day's closing price. But I wouldn't set my level right here because, for one, it's too close to my long level, right? I'm already being aggressive with my long level. I don't also want to be aggressive with the short level. I got to give this room to flex at the open so I'm not getting faked out. So I wouldn't go immediately for the previous day's closing price. But when we zoom out and we pull a line, this is why. When we pull a line back, what do we see? We got the rally up. We've got higher high, higher high, higher high, but we also have a higher low, higher low, higher low. And so on a break of this uptrend here, on a break of this entire thing, this whole uptrend, you would have to see a lower low, which is going to be right under this lower low here, which is 681. So that's why the level's not set at 683 or 682. It's $681, looking for the break of the uptrend trend line, the rejection of the resistance overhead, and the break of the previous day's closing price. It's a lot more thought that goes into this stuff than you would think. So that is SPY wrapped up for you. Apple, next one on the list. Yeah, it's been really beaten up on the daily. I had 2 very strong sell-off days. Well, I say very strong, but these are very strong days for Apple. So 2 very strong sell-off days followed by a recovery move, which you would expect to see, right? You would expect to see a bounce move like this after such a large sell-off. But what's interesting is that this 50 EMA is right here, and it kind of bounced off the 200 EMA, you know, roughly that whole area, right, when we zoom out. So I'm looking today to say, okay, well, if Apple had such a strong bounce move yesterday and gave such clean price action, could it continue today? And is there a valid reason for it to continue if it makes a higher high? And the answer is yeah. I mean, once it reclaims yesterday's high of day, it also reclaims that 50 EMA on the daily, which is a big point of potential resistance, but also support as well. So I'm thinking on a reclaim of that 50 EMA, it probably stays above that price point. So we're watching Apple for a continuation today. We don't have to overcomplicate it. I'm not looking to take this short because the short level would be way down here near 254. So we're only looking to take this long above 266. This is very easy analysis. AMD. Next one on the watch list. So yeah, some funky things going on here after hours, but it doesn't matter because yesterday this failed to hold the $200 hold number as a point of support. Broke right through it and sold all the way down to 195 before giving you a double bottom. This is a double bottom, right? Bottom one here. Here, I'll show you if you don't know patterns quite yet. So This is a double bottom pattern. You have bottom 1 right there, bottom 2 right here, and the third point you're going to look at is your neckline. So it looks like the W, the letter W. So bottom 1, bottom 2, and then the neckline. And this is a reversal. This is a reversal pattern. It's not a continuation pattern because it sells off, finds bottom 1, finds bottom 2, and reverses. And you have confirmation of that reversal once the neckline at level 3 is broken, at point 3. Once that neckline is broken, typically you get a reversal move back up. But that to the side, it fails to hold 200 as support anyways. Once it reclaimed, it fails to hold it as support anyways. It sells right back off to this same low, 195, 195, 195. So if we delete the 200 level and we, excuse me, and we zoom out, AMD has failed to hold 200 as support in the pre-market. It's kind of rejecting off this price point. So I'm looking for lower lows. That's what I'm getting at here. AMD, watching for the breakdown under $195. And by the way, we need to keep an eye on this gap area on the daily. If this enters in, if AMD falls under 190, watch out below. This could go to 170 very quick. But today, I don't know if that's going to be in play. I think our play is probably going to be short under 195 down to that gap area at 190. And then we can see what happens from there later. But that feels like a pretty big move for AMD. Google with the L, G-O-O-G-L, with the L at the end, not G-O-O-G. They're two different things here. So the one with the L is what I'm looking at. Yeah, the analysis here really hasn't changed from what we talked about yesterday. Google, and over the weekend too. Google is trading at the $300 hold number. That's noted right here for you. That's 300. And yeah, well, I mean, we're just getting reaction around that level. So bounce move in the pre-market yesterday, opening move up off that level, failure to hold it as a point of support. So you could have went short into a bear flag breakdown here, and then the rally reclaim, and then the reclaim holds it as support before it eventually gaps up this morning. Oh, let me zoom out. Before it eventually, I said gaps up. Yeah, it's a slight gap up. But it moved up off that price point. So your pre-market high is $305. That is also your high of day from yesterday, and it is also the area of support. Look, we'll pull it back. That is also your area of support from the day prior. So 305 is a split level for us. That becomes your long level to the top side. And then naturally, you know, if it's going to hold this 300 as support and bounce, who cares, right? But if this fails to hold 300 as support, now we've got our profit margin already identified down at 296. And that's going to be yesterday's low of day as your next point of support below 300. So it's a short idea below 300, and it's a long idea above 305. I don't have a bias on this. I'm not saying that it's more likely to move up or down, but if we do look at this on the daily, it's quite a bit of sell-off, right? Look at the RSI down here. Quite a bit of a sell-off. Just like with Apple, quite a bit of a sell-off, we would expect to see a bounce. Just like with Google, quite a bit of sell-off, we would maybe expect to see a bounce. I mean, this is about a $50 drop with no higher high day. Every day is a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Yeah, every day is a lower high. So could we see a bounce here? Possibly. But could we also see this continue down? Yeah. Yes. So I have no bias. We're just going to trade the direction, right? We're just waiting for this to make a directional decision, and then once it does, we'll take advantage of it to whatever way it wants to go. So many traders have a hard time understanding that too. They're like, oh, so you're telling me it can go up or down? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. But now we have a plan, don't we, to trade it if it goes up or down. And that's the whole point of this session. And I'm not trying to make price predictions. I'm just trying to give you a trading plan in the event that something does something. If Google doesn't do anything, maybe it just stays within this whole box, then we don't take a trade. And it's not like it's a bad trade idea. It just means it didn't hit. So we'll watch it again tomorrow. Next, hood. I like the setup here. I don't know if it's going to have the power to get above the resistance. It's pretty clear what we have, it's a run up to 77, multiple rejections, multiple rejections, multiple rejections, multiple rejections. So what we're looking for is a break of 77, possibly, right? A break of 77, and then the run back up to that gap area on the daily time frame. Hood has been another name that is pretty beat up. A lot of selling here happening. I thought the price of the stock was overextended anyways, so I'm not surprised to see this happen. Plus, we know that Hood kind of moves in tandem with Bitcoin. That's just kind of been a thing. Bitcoin selling, Hood would sell naturally, right? So anyways, that to the side with it selling, means it could be due for a bounce, maybe. It keeps hitting this same resistance point. This was a really nice trading day here, but then beyond that, yesterday was very choppy, and today still under that resistance point. So it's got a couple dollars to go before it gets there, but I like Hood above 77. Very easy analysis here. That's the only thing we're looking for. I don't care to take this one short. I've got 4 more for you. I know it's a big watch list, but hang in there. Nike. I saw this over the weekend and I didn't say anything about it, but I love the break of this downtrend trend line. I love that. That looks so good. If this was a more popular name, if this was like an Apple or an AMD or Nvidia or like PLTR, this would be my top pick of the day because of this setup on the daily. This is such a nice, clean, I mean, you've got a ton of things going on here. The hold of support down here at 61, so it's almost like a double bottom, but not quite. Then you've got a bunch of rejection at that 50 EMA most recently. And then the overall downtrend trend line here. So the pop move yesterday, the only thing you're kind of missing is volume. You're just missing if this had higher volume, that would be wonderful. But there's a lot of profit margin here, all the way up to the 200 EMA, so $67 from where it's at up to there. I mean, that's a 3% move that we could potentially take advantage of. So I like Nike for a continuation move from yesterday's run, which is not that great. It didn't happen until midday and end of day, but maybe we get an early morning pop now that other traders see that pop move as well, right? Just like me. And they say, hey, let's pump some volume into this thing early on. So long above 65. Long above 65 for a break of the downtrend trend line that we drew on the daily there. And then the continuation move topside. It's a really nice setup. I just don't know if it's going to give us the volume that we're looking for. Maybe something like this would be ideal at the open. Just a quick run up, pull back, take the entry, and then run it again. That's all I need. That's all we would need out of that. All right, 5-minute time frame. We're moving on to the next one. I've got 3 more for you. By the way, if you're just tuning in, you are late, but it's okay. This stream is available for you for playback. Once I end it, if you want to watch it from the very beginning in case you missed anything, you can definitely do that. Boeing, next one on the watch list. This is an ascending triangle. This is a series of higher lows. I'm not giving too much weight to that drop down there, but this is a series of higher lows, and then you got a flat line of resistance, a static line of resistance placed overhead. We can all see that. Regardless of the bottom line, right? Who even cares about this? Regardless of that, there is resistance at this zone. And so if we get a break of that zone, let's go to the daily. Look, this extends even further back. That was just over the past 3-4 trading days. This goes further back. And now this goes further back too. So it's just a big pattern here on the daily. Lot of resistance at 246. There have been a couple of fake outs above 246, including just recently right here, 246.51. But if this is the 5-minute time frame, that candle never closed over, and it was after a run, we wouldn't have taken that entry anyways. But we're looking for the break of $246 today on Boeing. So a break of that structure, a break of the ascending triangle. Think of this as like think of it as like a teapot, right? If you're boiling tea and you got all this steam and it's getting to the top and the lid is about to blow off the top of that teapot, this is it. This is your pressure mounting and mounting and mounting, and these swings are getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until something happens here. So it's either going to be a large rejection, or I don't want to say a big breakout, but a potential breakout. Boeing has the power to make big moves, and I mean, it's technically right at the breakout point. So a directional decision has to be today, if you were asking me. Boeing long above 246. I'm not looking to take this short, and the reason why is because to the top side, there's no resistance, right? We've already seen that on the daily. To up here, there's nothing back here that's going to stop this from going. But if it sells, where's all your support points? You've got a ton of different support points below. So if this sells, what point does it hit? What would our profit margin be? Ultimately down to 239, but could it stop short at any one of these supports and reverse? Yeah, it could. So I don't really like trading down into the zone here, but I like the idea of taking this long for a breakout move if it breaks out. Two more for you. NVIDIA. So there's some news out right now with NVIDIA and Meta partnership. I believe somebody actually posted it in the Discord server, but I saw this too. I think I got a CNBC alert. Two of the largest AI companies just announced a multi-year partnership. Meta and NVIDIA have partnered to expand AI infrastructure and accelerate Meta's AI roadmap. NVIDIA says that this partnership will deploy millions of NVIDIA GPUs, and Meta deploying NVIDIA Blackwell and Rubin GPUs to power hyperscale data centers optimized for training and inference. I have no idea what any of this means. It's a partnership. Who gives a shit? Who cares? That is a lot to digest. Way too much for my brain. It's a partnership. NVIDIA is up, though, and this is interesting. You see this quite often with partnerships. One stock will usually rise and one will sell. One stock usually rises, and so after hours, Meta kind of popped off of that news too, but has since curled over. And the interesting thing about Meta is that on any lower low, well, almost below yesterday's low of day, is a gap to be filled. So I've set an alert on Meta at 626. This one's not going to make the watch list because it's already a really full watch list. But if this goes off, right, if this totally dumps from that news, which it could, I don't know why it would, but sometimes that happens. There's a trade here that can be taken under 626. So we need to keep an eye on that. But we're focused on NVIDIA. And let me tell you why. NVIDIA on the daily, we know, has been in this multi-month range. I talked about this. I've been talking about this for I don't know how many weeks now. Multi-month range. I've been watching for the break of 194 since like 2 months ago, and it just hasn't happened. And most recently, we got another rejection at 194, and I was like, well, shoot, we're going to have to wait until the earnings report probably before this makes any sort of move outside of this bigger range on the daily. I mean, that's massive. You're looking at a multi-month range here. But fast forward to today, right? We go back to the 5-minute time frame. Not only do we get a bounce off of the support area and the run yesterday, but then it's a gap up. And now what's interesting is this is not far from that breakout point at 193, 194, 195. That breakout point there, let's go back to the daily. This is here, 194, 195, 196, this area. Maybe tops 195, probably not 196. So 194, 195. It's not far off. It's not far off. And NVIDIA is known for making big moves. Look, we could take, this is called a measured move. We're going to take this candle here. We've drawn a stick to match the size of the candle. This is called a measured move. And we're going to pull that to where this is opening. And now look, do you think that NVIDIA has the power to get to 194 and break out and give you a big move? Yeah, definitely. It could happen. So is it a bit of a stretch? I don't know. But we don't need to wait on it to get to 194 for us to take an entry. I think that we be aggressive on this because of the news. I'm not saying this is the reason why NVIDIA is going to break the range, but it could be. It could be. A lot of times I've seen this happen, and this is maybe just experience speaking, but when you have a range and a stock rejects, one day it'll look like this. One day that stock will reject and you're thinking it's totally out of play, so you don't put it on your watch list. And then the next day, even though it opens up way down here, it just does a face-melting rip and takes off. And you're like, where did that come from? And how would I have known to catch it? So it's a little game that I think is played in the market, you know, to kind of get people off this trail, and then they rip it up the next day, or maybe to trap the bears, right? The bears thinking it's rejecting resistance and the bulls are going to step in and run it back up. This has potential. So NVIDIA, I'm going to be aggressive on this. We're going to try to run it to 194, and then hopefully we go beyond that, and your next price target is going to be 200. Well, you got to get over 194 and 195, and then 200. So NVIDIA long above your pre-market highs today. If you want to mark all those other levels, go ahead. I'm just going to make that a dashed line so it doesn't confuse me. NVIDIA, yeah, long above your pre-market high, which I've placed just at 190. Be careful of the extension up because it is a gap up this morning. But yeah, I mean, if the news is that great, this is going to run. All right, last one on the watch list, and this is PLTR. It was upgraded, analyst upgrade this morning, and it's gapped up. I like it above 138. It's another name that is really beaten up on the daily. Kind of got this double bottom starting to shape up here, right? We've already detailed what a double bottom is in this session, so you should be familiar. So this is bottom one, bounce, bottom two, and then we started the move up potentially. So your price target here is going to be the neckline at 146. So we go back to the 5-minute time frame. This is opening around 137, it seems. We're just going to go $1 up off of this pre-market high. Roughly, rounding, and then this gives us our profit margin here up to 146, which is about 5%. Be mindful of the gap up because that could be extension. You may see something like this where this opens and sells or dips a little bit, and then that dip gets bought. And in this instance, if you get price action here, that this is going to be easier for me to screenshot and draw, but it's important. So on a gap up day, this is a gap up. On a gap up day, one of the ideal scenarios is going to be an opening dip that gets bought. So an opening dip that eventually gets bought. It won't look like that. That's kind of ugly. It'll look more like maybe an opening dip, and then it'll probably consolidate, and then it'll probably go higher high, and then higher low. I think that's probably more so what it would look like. But what in this instance, if you're given this, if you're given the opening dip, all that you're going to be looking for is a break of this downtrend trend line. So while I know I set the trigger level up here, if you get an opening dip, you can move that trigger level to the break of that downtrend trend line, and you would be watching for this on the 5-minute time frame. The reason why this is the ideal scenario on a gap up day is because think about if you're holding this. If you were in this position down here and it opens up here, what would you maybe be inclined to do when the market opens? Take some profit, right? So this relieves all of this buying pressure and makes it more, have more of an ebb and flow as opposed to just feeling way extended. So I like PLTR above 138. There's a couple of different ways we can approach it depending on what we're given. Now, if we get a big pop move up like this at the open, the only thing we could really do there is look for a dip to 138 and then probably risk off of the pre-market high. That would be the only other way we could really take advantage of that, I think. All right, that's the full watch list. So top stock pick of the day. Man, I don't know. We've got so many variations on this list today that it's tough. It'd be difficult to pick just one. So we've got SPY, Apple, AMD. I'm putting all these on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, and then Google. Now let me go over to, I like Google. I think Google could be a good pick because it's not directional yet, and if it gives us direction, it's a fresh direction. It's not like something that's been running or been selling. So maybe Google. I like this. I really like the setup on Hood. I just don't know if it's ready yet. And I really like the setup on Boeing, but Boeing's options contracts sometimes can be a little spready. So if that spread isn't tightened up at the open and that runs, I may not even take advantage of it anyways. I think we go NVIDIA. That's the one that I don't want to say that I've got a feeling, because you should never trade off of a feeling, but it's been so long that for NVIDIA, it's been so long that this stock hasn't done anything that I think traders are excited for it. And this partnership with Meta is just, even if it's not the best thing in the world, it's the most exciting thing for this stock right now. And that could be the reason why it runs. So NVIDIA over $190 is going to be the top stock pick of the day. NVIDIA over 190, given the news with Meta. Top stock pick of the day. Price target 1 going to be 194, 195, and then beyond that, 200. All right, we are trading live. Thank you for your time this morning. I hope that this review has helped you out. Again, if you're just tuning in, you're late, but you can watch it from the beginning. That's not a problem. You can just go back and rewind it once I end this stream. So here's how you're going to navigate to the live trading. It's not held here on YouTube. It's going to be in the Discord server. Let me post this. It's going to be here in the Discord server. Here's how you're going to navigate. Left-hand side, scroll all the way down, 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 down to the bottom. You're going to see a voice channel and then the arena. There will be people in here in the arena. That is where you just click right here in the arena and join me there. I'll meet you there in about 10 or 15 minutes. I'll be in there in about 10 or 15 minutes. All right, good luck today. Hope the reviews helped. We'll see you over in the Discord server. I'm ending this stream here now. Cheers.